All right. Okay, we're live. I'm just gonna start right away because people might see basically the replay of this and they might not be here live. So anyway, I wanted to talk about this news today about Gibson acquiring Mesa Boogie, and I'm gonna be talking from the perspective of basically kind of a casual fan of Mesa Boogie. Is it the end of Mesa Boogie? You know, we don't know. You know, a lot of people are saying that that you know, Boogie will be fine. They'll continue. Gibson will basically boost them in a way. But hey, who knows? Right now, I'm gonna be working on my Les Paul. I'm gonna be setting it up, restringing it, just because, again, I don't know. Like, the news came today. Okay, Gibson, you know, doing this today, and I was like, okay, fine. Let me just grab my Les Paul and give it some love. This is the Les Paul I have. It's a 2014 120th anniversary Les Paul standard. Anyway, so going back to the topic, I've been a fan of Mesa Boogie for a while. I mean, a lot of some of my guitar heroes use boogies, including a teacher in college. He used to have a Lone Star. I don't know if he still has it, but anyway, so throughout the years, I would say in the 10 years ago, I started like looking into buying Mesa Boogie amplifiers. I remember even prior to that, I gave it a try to what was the model? Something F. It was a model that was not too popular. I think this was back to like 2008 or so. Was it FM model? I forgot. I even tried the Express, and I remember back then I was like, these they don't have a soul. I don't know. They don't sound good to me. You know, there's something about them that I'm not getting from them. So like I was coming from a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, you know, type of amplifier, which I still love those amplifiers. I think those amplifiers can do basically almost anything, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I tried different Mesa Boogie amplifiers, and I was like, nah. And I remember in 2010, I tried the what was it? It was a rectifier. I remember buying it and trying it with an igniter cabinet. And I was like, man, this amplifier is not... It sounds too dry, you know what I mean? Like too lifeless, you know? It's like there's no feedback that you get from it. And I don't mean feedback like, you know, like gain feedback or whatever. No, I mean like I'm not getting anything back to me, you know, when I play it. Compared to like a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe or the Ville, you know, those amps, you know, they have a bounce to them, you know what I mean? But so I ended up like returning that amplifier. I remember buying a Lone Star back then because my teacher told me, hey, you should get that, you know. I asked him and he was like, definitely get it. And so I bought a Lone Star from a friend, a guy from Facebook. Actually, I met him, and even that amplifier, I tried it, you know, the Lone Star again. We're talking about like 2010, and I was like, man, there's something about these amplifiers that I'm not clicking, you know, I'm not clicking with, and I didn't know what it was. I just tried them, and I couldn't connect. And again, coming from a Fender, those it's crazy. Like they sounded like a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, even 112. It has like a bounce to it. Like when you play, it sounds big. It's huge. Maybe just 112. that could be enough for a lot of venues, you know. And I was not getting that from the Mesa Boogies that I was trying. So I ended up returning that, actually selling that Lone Star to Guitar Center, which was a mistake. I got ripped off, I think. I went back to Fender. I remember I went back to Fender, and I think in 2013, I went back and tried the Lone Star again. You know, when I saw Andy Timmons, I was like, man, I mean, I had seen him before back in, well, he recorded a video with Exotics Effects like in 2006 or something like that. You know, the one that he was using the Exotic, the BB preamp, I remember. I'm sure that video made, I'm sure it made Mesa Boogie famous in a sense. I'm not saying that, you know, he made them famous, but I would say that it created a bunch of like awareness, you know, because it sounded amazing, you know. Andy Timmons is like an awesome player. He has a beautiful tone. Anyway, so years after, again 2013, I was like, let me try it again, and what I was feeling before about the amplifiers, like feeling dry and all that, it's just part of Mesa Boogie. It's just the way they are, the way they, you know, the amplifier interacts with your guitar when you play the strings, when you hit the chord. They have this kind of like a dry, immediate attack that is just so perfect for recording. Like, I remember trying the rectifier and not liking it. Like, in front of me, it was in front of me, and I was like hitting it. I was like, man, I don't how, like, this doesn't sound like a recording. And of course that's has to do with me not being too educated about, you know, what happens when you know, record a guitar and then mix it, you know what I mean. But yeah, I remember feeling like that when playing Mesa Boogie amplifiers. But I kept my Lone Star, and I just gave it some time. You know, I gave it some time to understand it, and little by little, I was like, okay, let me keep trying it. And try to see if I can develop some type of relationship with it. And listen, it became my favorite amplifier. It became my main amplifier. I ended up buying all their Mesa Boogies as soon as it clicked on me, like, okay, this is how they work. And when I record it, if I, you know, tweak and of course move the microphone and try to get a decent tone, they sound great. I mean, that's why they were so popular. You know, that rectifier sound, the Mark V sound, the Mark II, and all those amplifiers. You have to give it time and kind of like get used to them. By the way, what you're hearing right now in the background, that's a video I made in 2013 demoing my Lone Star. A lot of people really love this video. It was an improvisation on the spot. I was like, let me try this amplifier. I put a 57 a microphone in front of the speaker, and I just went for it. I got a backing track from the internet, and again, I just went for it. So yeah, and I put it on. I'm putting it on repeat because I don't know what else to play in the background for now. So yeah, so I gave it time, and man, it became my main amplifier. I ended up, again, I bought an Stiletto, I bought a Mark V after that. I even bought another Lone Star because back then, you know, having amplifiers was cool, and you know, and I was all about my tube tone. I wanted stereo, so I got another head and all that. So yeah, again, I kind of have a little history with Mesa Boogie amplifiers. I mean, Petrucci, I love Petrucci. What is it? Andy Timmons using the Lone Star, such an amazing tone. Santana, say what you want about Santana, but Santana is basically, man, he's such a hero of music. You know what I mean? For when it comes to guitar players, you know, a lot of people don't like Santana for many reasons. But I would say for one of the reasons is like he's not too technical. He's not like he won't impress you with his techniques and all that. But honestly, he should, because of his control of every note. You know, his melodies, his tone, they're beautiful. And even though they are simple, but again, for him, that's everything, you know, and honestly, I appreciate him for that. So anyway, a bunch of players that I like, they play Mesa Boogie, and like I remember listening to Linkin Park a lot back in the early 2000s, and I remember like liking their tone. Even though I listen to it now, I'm like, oof, I don't know, it sounds a little harsh or whatever, little like too processed and all that. But like, again, the tone of Metallica, those heavy tones, I mean, they came from those Mesa Boogie amplifiers. So yeah, so again, I do have an attachment to the Mesa amplifiers, you know, after I gave it some time to mine. And I love my Lone Star. I still have it. I still have one. It's a unique sound. Like, you cannot find that tone anywhere else, you know. I love Fenders, and they're great. But as soon as I found out that I could have a fat tone with that very nice effects loop, because I'm into pedals as well, and they're like built like a tank, you know. They have a nice overdrive. Like, I remember loving the Hot Rod DeVille and the Deluxe, but again, they didn't have a good overdrive, right? So it was all about clean and then pedals on top of it. So, man, you know, the Lone Star gave it to me. You know, it had a beautiful clean, and then it had a beautiful overdrive. Once you kind of like found the sweet spot and where to put the knobs, like understanding how Mesa Boogie preamps work, you could get a beautiful tone. And I remember everywhere that I went with that Lone Star, man, everybody loved the tone. It had character, you know what I mean? So anyway, so going to Gibson. When I was starting to play guitar, I forgot about what I'm doing here on the Les Paul. When I started to play guitar, I remember liking the Les Paul, you know, shape of guitar, and I remember going to this store and just looking at the Gibson Les Pauls and other guitars, like copies of the Les Pauls. I remember even ending up with a copy of a Les Paul. It's funny, like it was the brand was like Richman or something like that. And again, I'm talking about in Puerto Rico. I used to live there, in this store, Villa Music. They used to have different guitars, and again, one of them was this brand, Richman. And yeah, I ended up buying that guitar, and it was weird to me because again, I also started with a Fender Strat, and then coming to a Gibson Les Paul type of guitar. It was, you know, again, this is just me discovering, you know, like testing, you know, trying things, you know, having my own experience, you know, I like, even without much knowledge, just trying things. I was like, man, it sounds too dark, it sounds too fat, you know, like not a lot of control and all that. I don't remember what I did with that guitar, but I tried different pickups and all that. I went back to my Fender, you know, and but again, I have to say though that not a lot of people that I used to follow, let's say guitar heroes that I used to follow, were Gibson, you know, Les Paul players. Definitely, as soon as I found Stevie Ray Vaughan, I just fell in love with him. I wanted that tone. I wanted, you know, to sound like him, having that vocabulary, that attitude that he had, you know, the tone had so much attitude, you know what I mean? So I wanted that. Anyway, So I never cared for Gibson Les Paul. Like, after I sold that copy of it, and then I started like seeing other players with Gibson Les Paul, and having that mentality, like, okay, you need to spend time with these things so you can understand them. Happened to me with a PRS guitar too. Like, I didn't like it at the beginning when I bought it, and then it took me a little bit, but then I was like, this is amazing. It feels amazing. Like, I love it. Right now I still have it, and it's one of my favorite guitars. Same thing happened with this Les Paul. When I bought it, I was like, man, something about it, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know if I really like it, and again, I gave it time, and I fell in love with it. It has its own thing, you know what I mean? A PRS cannot sound like a Les Paul, and they don't feel like a Les Paul, and vice versa. And for sure, like, if you want to sound like a Les Paul, if you want to, the feel of a Les Paul, just get a Les Paul. So yeah, so I stuck with it, and I love this guitar. I love my Les Paul. It's one of the, out of the guitars I have, it's one of the most consistent one. Even though, like, they've gotten a lot of flack because they're like, the poor quality control and all that. A lot of things that have come up through the years, and I'm sure they have sold guitars that are not great, but I might have gotten lucky. But I love this Les Paul. What it does, I love it for that. You know what I mean? And as far as as an instrument goes, it's consistent. Like, I grab it, and it's like intonated. Like, I really had to like intonate this guitar. And it keeps its tune very well. Yeah, I definitely love my Les Paul. I don't have anything negative about it. I'm not too fan of the like knob configuration. Again, I'm very used to, with my pinky, controlling the volume knob and all that. So on my Les Paul, it's just a little bit weird. So I had to like get used to that. But I love it. I love the instrument. Anyway, why are people concerned, or some people, including me, are concerned about what just happened today with Gibson acquiring Mesa Boogie? This is, again, this will come from my perspective of, again, a casual fan of Mesa Boogie and a casual fan of Gibson. I mean, this is the only Gibson I have. I don't think I really care to get another one. Maybe an SG. I don't know, but it's not a guitar that I'm looking to get at the moment. Well, the thing is that, so for years now, right? I've noticed that Mesa Boogie, they have kept releasing regular tube amplifiers, right? And for the past decade plus, a lot of us, guitar players, the whole guitar industry, they have been transitioning, to the digital realm. You know what I mean? And of course, this is not new. I mean, digital pedals have existed for decades, but more and more in the past decade or so, a lot of people have been like just basically giving up in tube amplifiers because of the convenience of digital pedals. What they can do. A lot of people, really don't care, or they didn't grow up playing tube amplifiers. So if you give them a Digitech RP300, that was my first, actually, my first pedal in 2000. They will be fine with it. They would think, this is how guitars sound, and there's a lot of people like that. A bunch of young guys, that, again, they were not born in the 70s, in the 80s, they were born recently. They don't care. They will get a Line 6, Helix or Pod, whatever, and they will be fine with it. So the thing is that, again, a bunch of companies like Line 6, Kemper, right, in 2010, even Fractal, they've been coming out and trying to innovate with the digital pedals, trying to recreate the sound of a real amplifier. um and some people have just basically moved completely to towards that, and some other are have become hybrid. Some others are like, there's no way, my tone is my tone, my tube tone, it's sacred, you know what I mean. um I took a while. I definitely took a while to actually move to the digital, or at least fully move, um the thing is that um again, a lot of the whole industry was moving, little by little, pushing more the digital realm, basically the digital aspect of the guitar industry. They were just producing more, and trying to acquire more guitar players. And the thing is, again, the convenience of having just a little pedal that can sound decent, going to a gig where space is limited and all that, or maybe money was limited. That the idea of a digital amp or digital modeler sounds appealing, and again, Mesa Boogie, I feel like Mesa Boogie was kind of like ignoring that industry for whatever reason. I know they came out with the Cap clone and all that, but I don't think that was a success. The Torpedo Live and the other pedals, low boxes, were ahead of them by miles. And they even put the low box, the low thing, on some amplifiers, including the Mark V 25. But again, it was okay. It was never like great. But they kept coming out with new tube amplifiers, 2018, whatever year it was that they released. They released the Transatlantic. I know that that's not new, but I don't know, that amplifier. It's like, I don't know, like. That was one that I tried. I was like, no, this is not it. I mean, even Andy Timmons tried it for a little bit, and you see him today. He went back to his Lone Star, So I feel like Mesa Boogie should have just like tried to put more effort into the digital thing. I don't know, like team up or with this what do you call those, profiles and impulse response. Like, come up with your own, like instead of teaming up with other companies, just maybe invest in a department like that and come up with your own digital realm, for guitar players, coming from the very own Mesa Boogie, like presenting their own thing, instead of like having giving other people a license to do it. Just do it yourself. And man, I don't think they could, at this point, I don't think they could afford to stay alive, because not a lot of people are buying tube amplifiers anymore. They're especially now. I mean, especially like 2020, right? But even without what happened in 2020, like a lot of guitar players have moved to the digital realm, and they have left behind the tube amplifiers. Not all. I'm sure there's a bunch of guys that are still playing in bars and other gigs with real amplifiers. But again, in these times, gigs are not paying a lot. Like for the regular people like us, like we're not like Satriani or other people like that. Like we're just trying to make some money, or just to have fun while playing, and carrying like amplifiers, cabinets, and all that. Sometimes it was not smart to do that. It was just like too much work. So it was just better to, and especially when when now like a lot of venues, like they don't want you to be too loud. A lot of, I play at church, so a lot of those churches, they started like eliminating amplifiers from stage. You had to either put it in the back, and then you have to come up with a solution to do that, like run long cables and buy into all these technologies that will amplify your signal without touching it or whatever, without basically modifying your signal so it gets there pure. You still have your signal, and then you have to buy so many boxes and a bunch of things, right? So why do that, right? When your gig is not paying a lot, right? When your gig is not paying, not even enough for you to cover the gas that that you needed to get to the gig. So again, a lot of people started to buy Line 6s, the Helix, which is a great product. I remember even using the M13. I love that pedal. Like, I used it a lot with my Hot Rod Deluxes. People started buying the Axe FX. Again, Kemper for almost 11 years now. Kemper sounds great. Kemper, like, I mean, imagine that a 11-year-old technology in the, like, we're talking about digital stuff, right? Like electronic stuff. These are not completely analog. They are still selling it today, like the same thing basically, and they just keep updating it, and it still sounds great. I have a Kemper. I love my Kemper, and that's what I've been using for a few years now, and it's like the best thing ever. The best thing ever for me. Convenient, like. Does not weigh a lot, and it has, like, I profiled my Lone Star, and I basically have the tone of my Lone Star inside a box. Of course, it's not 100%. I know it's not the same, but it's very close. It's very close enough for me to say, listen, I'm just gonna do the gig with this. This is good enough. I'm not gonna be carrying my speakers. I'm not gonna be carrying my amplifiers. I'll be carrying this, and this is enough. And again, especially when venues now in churches and all that, you're using in-ear monitors, like connecting amplifiers, and then if you want stereo, and I know that a lot of venues, they don't care about stereo. A lot of people don't care about stereo. They're just like mono. They don't see any sense on stereo. But when you're playing stereo, man, like, at least for yourself, right? Like, when you hear stereo, you hear that guitar sounding big and all that. It's just beautiful. It's inspiring. So anyway, Mesa Boogie kept coming with these amplifiers that I was like, I saw it throughout the years as they, like, as I kept seeing their videos coming up on my YouTube feed. Revealing new amplifier. My music just stopped, and we need music here. Where is it here? Okay. I'm like, why are they coming out with this amplifier? Like, who's buying these amplifiers? Like, I saw not a lot of sense. I was like, how are they still, like, in business? Like, Mesa Boogie, it's a pretty good size of company, like, they need to pay people, you know what I mean? Like, how are they still in business? Like, who's buying these amplifiers? And it was just basically a matter of time, to be honest. Again, I was like, how are they in business? And it's like, I feel bad because, again, it's such an iconic brand and an iconic company. So many great players use their amplifiers, and they had a tone, they had a sound, they had. I made a kind of like a statement today on my Facebook and Instagram, and I said, Mesa Boogie had a soul. They. Again, that's where Boogie came from, right? Isn't it? Because I think Santana said that the amplifier is Boogie or something like that. Like, it had something in it, And now seeing that Gibson acquired them. Gibson, as you may or may not know, they have been through some rough patches in the past decades. You know, a lot of people complain about their quality control. Not too long ago, I think it was 2019, with a PR crap show. The guy in charge was like so out of touch and so like disconnected from the community. Like that doesn't give you a lot of confidence with the company like that. I mean, I love my Gibson, I love my Les Paul, but now acquiring this Mesa Boogie company, of course it's good for Mesa Boogie, because I mean, that people are not buying a lot, right? So it was a good move in the sense that, listen, at least we're not gonna close the shop. We're gonna continue, and we might evolve into something else in terms of like a new different type of amplifiers, maybe more affordable ones, and that may keep Mesa Boogie alive. You know, who knows? He may not. Maybe Gibson will, drive him to the ground. I hope not. Of course, it was good move for Gibson, because Gibson didn't have a line of amplifiers like that. So now that money coming to them, it's gonna be great. Mesa Boogie is gonna be now more available in more countries and more stores. I wonder if they're gonna come back to Guitar Center and all that. Who knows? But I mean, again, I'm kind of like hurt in a way, because like, man, I wish you didn't do that, Mesa. I wish you didn't have to do that. Like I don't know if this was like Gibson going to Mesa like, hey, we want to buy you. What do you think? We see you're hurting. Do you want to sell? I don't know if it was like that, or it was Mesa Boogie going to Gibson. Who knows? Maybe it was like they put it. I don't know. I really don't know how it happened. But I wish it didn't happen. I wish Mesa Boogie were just on top of the industry, basically, staying relevant in the digital era. I'm not saying forgetting about the analog amplifiers, the tube amplifiers and all that, but just evolve. How about making them hybrid? Still keeping the Mesa mojo, you know what I mean, but then in the digital realm, coming up with your own version of a Kemper, you know what I mean, like or make your own, like sell your own Mesa Boogie profiles, coming from Mesa Boogie with their reputation and all that, things like that. And I don't think, yes, it might hurt their sales of the real amplifier, but again, if you want to buy a tube amplifier, you're gonna buy a tube amplifier. You might not care about profile, so just keep doing both, or just stay current. I don't know, stay relevant with what's happening in the industry. Sometimes I think maybe is Randall, like he's older now, man. Like, is he like just done? You know what I mean? Like, hey, I really don't have the strength to keep going with this. This is too much. Like, I cannot come up with new ideas. I think there's another guy there, that the one that plays guitar in some of their demos. He's like a great player. I think he's a very cool guy. Maybe these people are, in charge of Mesa Boogie are like older now, and they ran out of ideas. They don't know what to do with the company, and they try to do something. They're like, that's why they did the Cap clone. And they kept coming with some amplifiers, trying to stay relevant. They just couldn't. Sometimes I wonder if that's what happened. But again, I'm hurt because I wish they didn't have to do it. I wish they didn't have to sell. I wish they didn't have to be acquired by another company. Like, I wish it was maybe more like a partnership with another company to develop other things, new products and all that. But again, Gibson just acquired them completely, I think. And even though, yeah, they Mesa Boogie may continue their business as usual, things will change. I'm sure for better or for worse, things will change. And again, that's why I'm like, man, again, because I love the brand. I love Mesa Boogie. I think they had a great customer service. I don't know. In my experience, you probably had a bad experience with them, but in my experience, they were great. They were great. They have very good amplifiers, very good product. They sounded great. They were local, here in US. Supporting them. I mean, they're still. I'm not saying that they are gone. I'm talking like if they're gone, but they're not gone. Gibson, I know Gibson is local too in a way. Like their US brand. Again, I just wish Mesa Boogie didn't have to sell. I wish they were still their own company and coming with their own innovation in the guitar industry, adapting with time, and just moving forward. I wonder what's gonna happen, with the current artists, like how they feel. Again, not everybody like Gibsons, like as a brand or just the guitars, right? But maybe some of these people feel like, oh, this is gonna be too different now, so I'm just gonna jump ship, and just leave Mesa Boogie behind. Like I wonder. Again, I hope for the best for Mesa Boogie. I hope they don't go away, because a lot of people care for them, and we want to see them stay around for sure. So anyway, I'm not gonna keep going with this video. It's been very long. I think I said what I had to say. I like Mesa Boogie. I have my history with Mesa Boogie amplifiers. I own a Les Paul. I like my Gibson. I hope for the best. I'm not saying that they're doomed. I hope for the best. So anyway, yeah, thank you guys. If you wanna subscribe, feel free to hit that button. I love music. I love guitars, and I love talking, as you may notice. So, all right, guys. I'll catch you guys next time.